first time I've ever been late. 33 seconds.
33.
Good morning, Chancellor.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Good to be seen.
Chancellor had a real issue this morning. He forgot his phone. He didn't have any way to call Terry. We had to go back home.
Oh.
Key point.
Age.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Morning.
The meeting of the Board of Regents of Texas Tech University System is now called to order. The board will continue in open session and meet as a committee of the whole and meeting of the board. Before we begin with introductions and recognitions today, I'd like to call on Regent Montfort to present an item discussed in executive session on Thursday, August 11, 2016. Please. Regent Montfort.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. The Board of Regents would like to present a resolution of commendation and recognition for our own Mr. Ben Locke. Oh, I know, Ben's dying now.
Yes, he is.
His head went back down again.
Yes, he is.
For his many years of dedicated service to the Texas Tech University System and the Board of Regents. Ben, if you'll please stand as I read the resolution.
While he's standing, we have some special guests with us. Robin, somewhere. You didn't tell me. Oh, there he is. Kate and Brad are here. Allison and Jeremy. And of course, we have Carson, Logan, and Campbell.
Hey. There you go.
That's awesome.
Okay. Robin, would you like to come stand by Ben over here, please? The resolution reads as follows. Whereas Ben Locke has served the Texas Tech University System with the utmost honor and distinction since its inception in August of 1996. And whereas Ben Locke, as Executive Assistant to the Chancellor and the Secretary of the Texas Tech University System Board of Regents, has been a consistent, credible, and informed source of institutional knowledge, providing respected guidance and advice for the Board of Regents. And whereas Ben Locke has served as a reliable resource for keeping the Texas Tech University System Board of Regents advised of important events and developments between the scheduled meetings, and has provided valuable counsel and judicious communication with each individual member of the Board of Regents. And whereas Ben Locke has for 2 decades successfully coordinated executive searches on behalf of the Texas Tech University System Board of Regents to identify distinguished leaders for the positions of Chancellor and for presidents of the component institutions within the system. And whereas Ben Locke has given unselfishly of his time, energy, and dedicated service to the Texas Tech University System and its boards of regents, administration, faculty, students, and supporters. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Regents of the Texas Tech University System that Ben Locke be commended for his extraordinary and exceptional service to the Texas Tech University System, and be it further resolved that this commendation and recognition be officially published by the Board and incorporated into the minutes of the Texas Tech University System's meeting this 12th day of August 2016 at Lubbock, Texas. In witness whereof, the undersigned members of the Texas Tech University System Board of Regents have affixed their signatures in the seal of the Texas Tech University System to this resolution. Before we take our vote, Ben, you took a chance 20 years ago when John T. offered you a job with no job description and said, come on down, we're just going to build a system. Took a chance on Texas Tech, on Lubbock, and you moved Robin and your young girls here. You made a home, and you became very involved in the Lubbock community. We appreciate not only the job that you've done for us, the board, for all the boards the past 20 years, but also for the job that you've done and the leader you've become in our community. So Chairman Long, for all those reasons and many more, I move that the Board of Regents approve the resolution in commendation and appreciation for Ben Locke's service to the Texas Tech University system as presented.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ben, the motion passes. Gentlemen, you have the floor. And we'd like Robin to speak also about the adventure.
Take a long time.
Well, I haven't had time to prepare a script for this, and my phone's ringing. Last time that happened, I was on TV camera being interviewed, and my phone rang, and it was Hans saying, "I'm watching you on TV." Thanks. This is special. But it's special because when we came here, Texas Tech and Lubbock made a home for us and became part of our family. You're all part of the family. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Well, as many of you know, it's not easy to fool Ben Locke. And so this morning I was playing dumb and said, "Now what room are you all in? Now what time does it start?" Now, over 20 years, I pretty much know the answers to all of these questions. And he was looking at me like, "What?" Well, I have to tell you that probably the best thing that ever happened to us was when John and Debbie offered us the opportunity to come to Lubbock, Texas, and to be a part of the Red Raider family. You know, my career began in higher education, and so when we made this move and I had these opportunities, I never dreamed of the chances that I would have and the opportunities that Ben would have, and maybe more importantly than that, the education that our daughters received here at Texas Tech. Both have master's degrees, one from Texas Tech University, the other from Texas Tech University Health Sciences System. And we are very proud of them and very proud to be part of the Red Raider family. Thank you.
Awesome.
Ben, in closing, you are the Board of Regents. We all fade away. You'll be here forever. We hope.
We sure hope.
We have two other people that I'd like to recognize before we start. John Opperman, please stand, and Christina. John came right when the system was formed, right? The system was formed in August. Did you come immediately? Yes, I did. Good. And Christina started in February after the system was formed in August.
I started in February at the Health Sciences Center.
Okay. So both of them are 20-year with the system. So please acknowledge them.
Congratulations.
Chancellor Duncan, President May, President Mitchell, President Lang, and last but not least, President Skubanek. Will you please present your introductions and recognitions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. It's really nice to celebrate the members of our family that have been here since the inception. Today I'd like to introduce to you a new member of our family, Patrick Kramer. Patrick is our newest member of the institutional advancement team. He joined the team on June 27th of this year and is our Senior Associate Vice Chancellor for Finance and Operations and Services. He was recruited from Colorado. His selection for the position comes after a nationwide search that produced a very strong pool of national candidates. As Senior Associate Vice Chancellor, Patrick will serve as a key member of the leadership team in institutional advancement. He'll oversee the functions and resources provided by the central office, such as research, data management, financial services, endowment compliance, and stewardship. These are very key functions, especially in the reorganization that we have in institutional advancement today. He comes to us from the University of Colorado. He originally began his career at Washington State University, which is his alma mater. He holds a bachelor's degree from Washington State. And Patrick and his wife, Jennifer, have 2 children, Cheyenne and Jackson. Would you all please stand and be recognized? Put the name to the face. There's Patrick right over there. Congratulations, Patrick. We're happy to have you here. We'll be doing your 20-year here a few years, 20 years. I have a couple of special recognitions today. We are very fortunate in this system to have dedicated employees who work very hard to make sure that the system and its components are functioning appropriately and that we are able to expand into new and explore new opportunities. I want to commend 2 people right now, John Huffaker and Sheila Kidwell. John, as you know, is a former member of the Board of Regents, but also is our Vice Chancellor and General Counsel. Sheila, who was my former law partner in the old days, a few years ago, serves as Senior Associate General Counsel. Both played a very significant role in the development of the Costa Rica campus that was announced and celebrated yesterday. This was a unique and innovative concept that really we were pioneering this concept in this country and internationally. And to build that program from the legal perspective was a very significant job and a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that will be a catalyst for progress in development and innovation. Not just putting Texas Tech on the map, it's putting us on the globe. And the legal issues and things that had to be worked through on that were very significant, and we're very fortunate to have such a legal team. I would like to ask Mr. Huffaker to come up and say a few words, if he would.
Thank you, Chancellor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In our office, one of the things we try to do is respond to the leadership of the universities when they have innovative ideas, when they have things that they're going to explore and try something different. We like to say that our motto, sometimes at least, is from here it's not impossible. And so I definitely want to recognize Sheila. We've had 2 major transactions, the Costa Rica transaction yesterday. It would never have happened without Sheila's work. And even at the same time, we are now also closing this week another very innovative transaction working with the City of Amarillo and the Amarillo Economic Development Corporation on the Pantex project. So, Sheila, if you will come forward. If I do ever give you a day off, I want you to go to the spa.
I also want to recognize 2 old members of the family, but in new positions. First, Chairman Long recognized John Opperman, but I also want to say thank you on the behalf of the system and all of the officers in the system, and I think on behalf of all of our presidents as well, to John Opperman, who served so well as our interim. We had actually when he started as interim, we started winning basketball games. I don't know if he was coaching. And then he hired a really great basketball coach. And then we went to the College World Series. There were a lot of great things. But John really held a steady hand on the rudder for Texas Tech University as an interim. He has always done that in his 20 years with the system. And now he will be returned to his position as Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, which is a key position for all of our institutions to make sure we can continue to advance and be innovative in higher education. So I want to thank him for his service. And then the new guy on the block, who's really not the new guy on the block, but we're all really excited about our new president, Dr. Lawrence Skuvenik. He's been a great leader for Texas Tech for 30 years. And when he was the decision, I think one of the key things that made, at least in my mind, was his dedication, vision, and passion for Texas Tech University and his ability to get the job done. I'm looking forward to many working years with Dr. Skuvenik and his team. I have a special announcement and a special recognition today. As you know, our new vision for philanthropy elevates our operations and moves us beyond fundraising for one big number to supporting excellence and big ideas. JT and Margaret Talkington were no strangers to big ideas and exemplified the importance of sustained philanthropy in our community. Remembered as business and civic leaders, JT and Margaret believed in Texas Tech University. They believed in Lubbock, and they believed that everyone should be able to experience the arts. If you go to the Chancellor's home, there's many pieces of the Talkington art collection that was donated to the museum. And there's many pieces over at the museum. Throughout the community, you'll see art that has been provided by the Talkington, JT and Margaret Talkington. They understood the art's significance in this community and supported the developments as an art center for West Texas and our nation. Through their personal giving, through their foundation, the Talkingtons have made a significant and indelible impact on Texas Tech University system and the Lubbock community. Across our campuses, their legacy of philanthropy has funded undergraduate and graduate fellowships in the arts, installed internationally recognized public art on our flagship campus, renovated the Grand Holt Camp organ in Himley Recital Hall, donated artwork from their personal collection to our museum, supported our arts outreach that expanded Texas Tech engagement in the Lubbock community, and many other things in other areas of our university. Today, the Talkingtons' legacy continues, and we are grateful to the JT and Margaret Talkington Charitable Foundation for a $10 million gift to the College of Visual and Performing Arts. Great communities are inspired and challenged by the arts, and JT and Margaret Talkington realize the arts' potential to impact the entire Lubbock community. By giving to the College of Visual and Performing Arts, their foundation continues their philanthropic legacy at Texas Tech University, impacting the arts for generations to come. Please say thank you, and let's recognize the Talkington Foundation. Representing them here today are Mr. Norton Baker, the chairman. Norton, would you please stand? Dr. Kitty Harris-Wilkes, who's a member of the board. Ms. Charlotte Park is also a member of the board. Alan Henry is a member of the board but was unable to be here today. I would also like to recognize those on our team who helped make this gift possible. Dr. Bess Haley, Terry Duncan, Dr. Andrew Martin, who was interim dean at the time, and Lisa Calvert and her team in the Central Institutional Advancement, specifically our Principal Gifts team. If you all would stand and be recognized. Thank you for the work that you've done. Talkington Foundation, thank you for all you've done for this community and for Texas Tech University. I also want to recognize, I think Kirby was unable to be here, but Andrea Tyree, who is here, who has also worked with the Talkington Foundation, and we'll be sharing more with you about a gift that affects athletics at another time. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my introductions.
Thank you. President May?
I have no introduction.
President Mitchell?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I go on with some of the introductions that I have this morning, had I been here in May, I was going to introduce Mr. Kano McQuinney. He was leaving. Those of you that know Kano know that he's one of those rare, and I mean rare, individuals that you work with that never has an agenda. He never has an ulterior motive to do something. He's just the epitome of not just a good worker and an intelligent, go-get-em type for an employee, but he's also just a perfect gentleman. Great guy. His wife, as many of you know, had her PhD in a specific area of childhood education. She took a job at Missouri State, so they have moved to Missouri, but I wanted to make sure that I wanted to give everybody a chance to thank Kano for the work that he did while he was here. In addition to that, I want to thank Mr. Elmo Cavan, and he doesn't know this. Elmo, stand up. United States military has the Delta Force and the Rangers and the Marines and the SEALs. We have the Elmo. Elmo has been with this system now for 30 years. He's watched the Health Sciences Center quite literally grow from just a very small school that had just a couple of schools within it to the largest health science center in the state of Texas. He's been responsible for making sure that our overhead stays low. He's been responsible for making sure that our money stays accounted for. And I think that's probably because he keeps most of it under his mattress. He has been responsible for keeping the ship of state moving forward at times over the course of the Health Sciences Center history when things were rocky. Elmo's going to be retiring at some point. We don't know exactly when, but he's going to be retiring at some point in time. I've asked him to make sure that he stays on through the next legislative session so that whoever steps in behind him will get the benefit of Elmo's connections and contacts that he has in Austin. And so I'd just like to say thank you to Elmo for all the work that he's done. And at the time that he does officially retire, I'll ask him to say something. I have to tell you this too. When I first started here, I was going to take a few weeks off before I came out here, and I get a call from Elmo saying, no, you need to start May 1st. I'm thinking, what in the world kind of crisis is that I can't take any time off? But, so I started May 1st. I get out here and asked Elmo, well, why is that? He goes, well, because I didn't want to have to do commencement. That's the kind of partner Elmo's been. Okay. All right, so when I started in May of 2010, one of the first documents that I saw was, and it's just by happenstance where I started and when the survey's done, was a survey that is done on an annual basis by students. And because it was one of the first things that I saw, I really delved into that survey, and it was just a wealth of information. We do this on an annual basis. But with that information, you could tell a lot about our university from the perspective of our students. You could look at it and tell which of the students on regional campuses maybe felt like they didn't have quite the love they needed. You could tell that all of our students in all of our schools, almost to a person, really enjoyed the educational aspect of what they got, the academic component of what they got. But one of the things that struck me with that survey was, again, the detailed information, number one, and number two, how our deans and how our faculty and how our staff, as we work toward improving those areas where we had weaknesses, really embraced this thing. So we do this on an annual basis internally. We do it for ourselves to make sure that we know where we're hitting on all pistons and where we're not. We also do this as part of the accrediting areas for the various schools that we have. It's an important part of their accreditation standards and their evaluations. But the concept of what we do at the end of the day about making sure that our students not only enjoy their academic experience, but their experience in general at the Health Sciences Center is one that all of us, the faculty, the staff, the administration, the deans, everybody has been working on very hard for many, many years. As a consequence of that, and I brought this forward to you in October of 2015, graduateprograms.com, which is an instrument that is used and a system that is used where they do not allow any input from the universities across the country. And they have 1,700 universities that go into this system. But one of the areas that they look at is health-related institutions, and they call this the Of the Students, By the Students, For the Students survey. So all they do is they interview on a rolling 3-year average current students and former students. And they've got, depending on the school they're looking at, they have 15 to 18 different categories that they look at for academic competitiveness, financial aid support, faculty support, through all these things. And one of the things that we're very, very proud of that I reported on earlier was the fact that in October of 2015, Texas Tech University Health Sciences School of Medicine was ranked 3rd in the nation by graduateprograms.com. And I presented this at our strategic planning meeting in February. A little help there, Tommy. Okay, here we go. And just to show you some of these others, when you look at their graduate programs for computer science, number 1, Rice, number 2, MIT, number 3, Boston. You try it? There we go. For MBA programs, number 1, Harvard, number 2, Cal Berkeley, University of Virginia, law schools, Stanford, et cetera, et cetera. So these are, we're up there with some really phenomenal company. Just recently, they've looked at the other schools. They've looked at other schools within health-related institutions. So when you look at the top graduate physical therapy programs in the United States, number one, Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center. I put up there number 5, Mayo. That's a little school up in Minnesota. Top graduate occupational therapy programs, number 3 in the nation, Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center. Top nursing programs, top graduate nursing programs, number 13 in the nation, Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center. And top pharmacy programs, University of California, San Francisco historically has always been considered the premier pharmacy school in the nation. So in a company like that, number 16 on the list was Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center. They did something different then. They took all these various components of these various schools within a university, and based on the rankings of the various components of a university, they then came up with a university ranking for all health science, all health-related institutions in the United States. When that information came out, the number 1 health-related university in the United States was Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center. We're very, very proud of that. Number 3 is Harvard. Number 5 is Duke. I'll say this. Number 8 is Texas A&M, Brunges. Number 15, University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston. So again, amongst really good company, our faculty, our staff, our deans have all played an integral role in focusing on what we do best, which is educating healthcare providers and scientists of tomorrow. So what I've got today is I have a list of, well, I'll just point them out. Okay. School of Medicine. Who's here from the School of Medicine? We've got Dr. Simon Williams and Dr. Lauren Cobbs from our School of Medicine. School of Nursing, we've got Dr. Michael Evans, Dr. Carla Chapman. Who else is back there? Dr. Kahn, I see you there with Dr. Brant Schneider from the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences. Dr. Lori Rice Spearman, Lindsay Johnson, y'all stand up. Who's behind y'all? Okay, we've got Dr. Quentin Smith and Dr.
President Lang.
I'm just happy to be sitting next to the guy who's got the number 1 health science center in the nation.
President Skubnik, we understand that in your president's meeting, there's a pecking order.
Yes.
That, and they made you go last.
Well, not only that, one of those presidents just handed me a note. We need more coffee, pledge.
Pastor's down there.
It's bad to be the new guy, you know.
I won't say who that was. Chairman Long, I have 4 introductions. I'd like to begin with somebody you're very familiar with, but I think he needs a more formal introduction, and that's Dr. Michael Galligan. He wasn't aware he was going to be introduced. Mike Galligan is a distinguished scholar who came to Texas Tech in 1998 and was named a Horn Professor in 2006. He's been the Dean of the College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources And when it was announced that I was going to be the president, I received many notes from that college. Don't take Mike. But we're very fortunate to have him serving in this role. I'm sure that his calm and organized leadership will be very much appreciated in the office of the provost, which was in need of calm and organized leadership. Thank you very much, Mike. I'd also like to recognize Wes Condrey. Wes is the Texas Tech University and the system direct coordinator for the State Employee Charitable Campaign. We thought it was appropriate to recognize him because we're getting ready to kick off that campaign again this fall. It's so important in terms of our commitment to the community, but also because he does a great job. Last year, the campaign raised almost $800,000, and that was first in the Big 12 by more than $400,000. So, Wes, thanks for a great job, and we'll do even better this year. I'd like to introduce Michelle Hoagland. Michelle is in the Office of Communications and Marketing, where she's the Assistant Managing Director. Michelle, along with her team, recently won 2 silver and 2 bronze awards at the 37th Annual Telly Awards for the videos I Am a Red Raider and This is Texas Tech University. And earlier this year, the marketing department under Michelle's leadership also won 11 Addy Awards. She and Chris do a great job of representing the university. And as Ted was making his introductions, I realized I'm going to need her help for the next round of introductions in October. And finally, Eric Hackay. Dr. Hackay was named a Horn Professor last spring. He is one of only 87 professors at Texas Tech in the history of this institution to receive that designation, and one of 24 that are still active on the faculty. He joined Texas Tech in 1997. He's now the chair of the Department of Plant and Soil Science. He's a very distinguished researcher where he works in research related to cotton, which is so relevant to this area and to that college. Congratulations, Eric. Chairman Long, that concludes my introductions.
Thank you. Thank you all for those introductions and recognition. The board will continue in open session to meet as a committee of the whole and meeting of the board. Is there a motion to approve the minutes on the board meeting held on May 19th and 20th, 2016, June 16th, 2016, and July 7th, 2016?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. We will now consider items as a committee of the whole, and I would ask that the vice chairman to preside over the committee of the whole, Regent Montford.
The item in consideration is the consideration of the consent agenda items A through L, including items C1 and I1, as listed on the pages 1 through 22 of the agenda book, and the information agenda is listed on pages 23 through 26 of the agenda book. That revised item was handed out to you this morning. I think everyone has a copy. Is there any discussion of the items in either of these agendas? As a reminder, if there is an item that you would like discussed in further detail or voted on separately from the consent agenda, you may request the item be moved to the committee of the whole agenda. Mr. Chairman, I move that the board approve the consent agenda and acknowledge its review of the information agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Please continue.
The next item for consideration is item 2, Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center, El Paso. Authorize the use of eminent domain. Dr. Lang, will you please present this item?
The Chancellor concurs with the recommendation of the President that the Board of Regents authorize the Chancellor or the Chancellor's designee use of power of eminent domain on behalf of the Texas Tech University Health Science Center El Paso for the property listed. The purchase of this property is vital to the continued educational program, the clinical care and administrative care for our university. This is a property that sits at the north end of the university and is vital to our mission. So we'd ask for your approval for the Chancellor to use eminent domain if necessary to acquire the property.
Are there any questions or comments regarding this item? If none, Mr. Chairman, I move that the board approve the item to authorize the use of eminent domain by the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center, El Paso, as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Please continue.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this concludes the items to be considered by the Committee of the Whole at this time.
Thank you. The board will continue meeting in open session to consider reports of the standing committees. Chairman Francis, will you present the items considered for action by the Finance and Administration Committee?
Mr. Chairman, the Finance and Administration Committee of the Board met in open session on Thursday, August 11th, 2016, and considered items 1 through 3 as presented on pages FA1 through FA9 of the agenda book. I request that the following items be considered and approved as a group. Item number 1 was from the System and 4 Components to approve the FY 2017 operating budgets. Item number 2 was from the Health Sciences Center to authorize the President to execute a contract with GCA Education Services of Texas, Inc. Item number 3 was from the Health Science Center in El Paso to authorize the President to execute a contract with Community Health Worker Corps Consensus Consultants. Mr. Chairman, the committee recommends approval of the items as presented, and I so move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Please continue.
Mr. Chairman, this concludes the report of the Finance Administration Committee.
Thank you. Chairman Lancaster, will you present the items considered for action by the Academic, Clinical, and Student Affairs Committee?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Academic, Clinical, and Student Affairs Committee of the Board met in open session on Thursday, August 11th, 2016, and considered items 1 through 6 as presented on pages ACS 1 through ACS 11 of the agenda book. I request that the following items be considered and approved as a group. Item 1, ASU approve appointments with tenure. Item 2, TTU approve appointments with tenure. Item 3, TTU approve Master of Science degree in Finance. Item 4, TTU approve conferral of honorary degree. Item 5, TTU HSC El Paso approve appointment with tenure. Item 6, TTU HSC El Paso approve a distinction in anatomy, MD diploma, notation for graduates of the Paul L. Foster School of Medicine who complete the associated supplemental program requirements. Mr. Chairman, the committee recommends approval of the items as presented, and I so move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Please continue.
Mr. Chairman, this concludes the report of Academic, Clinical, and Student Affairs Committee.
Thank you. Chairman Steinmetz, will you present the items considered for action by the Audit Committee?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The Audit Committee of the Board met in open session on August 11th, 2016, considered items 1 and 2 as presented on A1 through A4 of the agenda book. I request the following items be considered and approved. Texas Tech University System approval of the 2017 audit plan. Item 2, Texas Tech University System report on audits. Mr. Chairman, the Audit Committee also convened an executive session in which time no action items were considered or approved. Mr. Chairman, the committee recommends approval of the items as presented, and I so move.
Thank you. Do I hear a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Please continue.
Mr. Chairman, this concludes the report of the Audit Committee.
Thank you. Chairman Anders, will you present the items considered for action by the Facilities Committee?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Facilities Committee of the Board met in open session on Thursday, August 11th, 2016, and considered items 1 through 9 as presented on pages F1 through F19 of the agenda book. I request that the following items be considered and approved as a group. Item 1, ASU, approve a project to construct the new Archer College of Health and Human Services building. Item 2, ASU, approve scope, expansion, and budget increase to the new press box project at the LeGrand Football Stadium. Item 3, TTU, approve scope, expansion, and budget increase to the Petroleum Engineering Building renovation Phase 1 project. Item 4, TTU, approve a project to construct the Experimental Sciences Building 2. Item 6, TTU, authorize president to execute a contract with the Enrollment Management Dallas office. Item 7, TTU Health Sciences Center, approve a project to construct the new Permian Basin academic facility on the Odessa campus. Item 8, TTU HSC, authorize the purchase of real property in Odessa, Texas. Mr. Chairman, further, no action was taken on item 5, which was authorize the power purchase agreement for the Texas Tech University's Junction campus. Mr. Chairman, the committee also accepted the following report. Item 9, TTU System, report on facilities planning and construction projects. Mr. Chairman, the committee recommends approval of the item as presented, and I so move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Please continue.
Mr. Chairman, this concludes the report of the Facilities Committee.
Thank you. We will continue meeting as a committee of the whole and meeting of the board. Ben, please present the schedule of upcoming board meetings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next board meeting is only 9 short weeks from today, back in this room. And we do have a schedule of meetings through the end of calendar 2017, with the exception that we are still waiting to set a date for an October 2017 meeting.
Very good. Thank you. Chancellor Duncan, please present your report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, I'll be brief. I know we've talked a lot about different issues affecting the system over the course of the meeting. I do want to highlight a few things for your attention. First, I think at the end of each fiscal year, we should always report to you where we are on our philanthropic efforts, and I would like to congratulate our fundraising folks, our institutional advancement team, our development officers, our deans, our presidents, and our athletic director on what I would call a very good year. To date, with 2 weeks left in the fiscal year, we've raised $147.5 million. These are new gifts and new commitments to our institutions. We have just passed the 4th highest fundraising year to date, with more in the pipeline. So I think there's a lot of congratulations to the efforts, but I think it also tells us that what we already know, that people are starting to believe in what we do as a system, as each of our component institutions, and our presidents and deans and faculty and fundraisers are really doing a good job of getting the message out. And I think the challenge is to continue to grow. As we've said before, and I'll continue to say forever, is that it's philanthropy that gives us excellence and allows us to exceed even our wildest dreams. So we're looking forward to more excellence and more growth in our system, more growth in the quality of our programs. The system, as you know, is we coordinate all of our federal relations. And one of the things that we have done with your help is we've reorganized and restructured our federal relations and federal relations program and where we're going there. We just recently, on July the 5th through the 7th, did a fly-in or went to Washington, D.C. with our 2 health science centers. We visited 18 members of Congress, 17 Texas members, and then Congressman Ted Yoho, who is the chairman of the veterinary caucus. He's actually a practicing vet, or former practicing vet from Florida. We also organized high-level meetings with the Department of Defense, and I think we've really learned some things about how we can better present some of our research opportunities. And also, I think we've raised awareness in those agencies about our ability to be competitive in nationally competitive in research that they have an interest in. Our team also secured a meeting for President Mitchell and I to give an update on the College of Veterinary Medicine to the Secretary of Agriculture, Tom Vilsack, who has actually will be appointing someone to serve on our advisory committee as we develop the plans for a veterinary clinic, or a veterinary school of veterinary medicine. We will have also, in order to emphasize the importance of federal research, we will have a strategic planning session in our system on August 23rd and 25th, which will include our university presidents and vice presidents of research. Our goal is to determine the policy priorities for each university, and also to develop collaboration as it relates to these types of research products. Getting our federal research up at all of our institutions is a very critical metric, but it's also a very great opportunity for our faculty and students as well. There is a great progress on our dental school. We'll be talking more about that later. I know Dr. Lang has done a great job with that. Regent Francis as well, and I just, we're really making a lot of progress there on the planning phase of that. The coordinating board has received our planning letter and has accepted that, and that's a key key step forward. On the vet school, we will have on July the 21st, we testified before the Higher Education Coordinating Board and shared the update on our strategic plan for the system, but also we were able to discuss our plans for the veterinary school. On that day, the coordinating board adopted a report prepared by their staff that basically recognized the need for large animal, food animal vets, but also opened the door and gave us an invitation to present plans for a College of Veterinary Medicine that is not redundant of the traditional model that is currently at Texas A&M. We have a steering committee that we have recruited veterinarians, scientists, and people with political persuasion throughout the state, a 40-member steering committee, which will be meeting at the Ranch Indian Heritage Center on the 2nd of September. And the purpose of this group, and when we've laid this veterinary medicine college idea out all along, we have said we're going to design this plan utilizing industry to make sure that we are actually meeting the needs of the industry as it relates to the College of Veterinary Medicine. So this will be an important grassroots effort for us, and I'm looking forward to that. And finally, on mental health initiatives, we have been working hard. All of us, and let me go back to the veterinary college, and I want to say that there is an unprecedented collaboration going on between Texas Tech University and the Health Science Center, and I think that's due to the leadership we have at both of those institutions on the vet school. This wouldn't happen if it were just one or the other. It needs to happen with both of them collaborating, and I think our system, is uniquely situated to be able to take advantage of collaborative efforts between all of our institutions, especially with the leadership we have in place at each of these institutions. So congratulations to them. Same thing happens in mental health. If you look at, if you want to make a difference in mental health, one of the things that you have to do is collaborate and pull together marshal all of your resources, because mental health has many facets, and we do many different things in our general academic institutions as well as our health-related institutions. And so we are in the process of collaborating there, but it takes time. It's not something you can do overnight, nor is it something that you should. You should be careful in the way you go forward with that. But we are looking and examining our strengths in those areas, and we will continue to understand the importance of that. But I will say that we need to make sure we do this right, because I think there are some great opportunities provided we do take the proper steps to get where we need to get on that. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you. I know it's not on the agenda, but can Michael give us a report on the system building?
Sure.
Or if you can, maybe one of you.
I'll let the expert do that.
Okay.
There is an excerpt in your FP&C report at the back, item 9, that gives some visuals of that, but we're on schedule to move in March. It'll be a phased schedule. The construction is moving quite well. The only design decisions by the committee are still to be made are related specifically to the interior artscape and finishes, but basically it is on schedule and ready to move in March. Yes, sir.
Thank you. President May?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. A lot of what I was going to say today was covered a lot yesterday, so I'll be very brief. And to recap just a little bit, our summer enrollment was up 13%, and this is through several initiatives. It doesn't include dual credit, so that was just on campus, and so we're very excited about that. We think it positions ourselves well when we go into as a counting year for the legislative session, starting with our summer 1 and summer 2 being up so much. As I reported yesterday, too, the freshman class is going to be the largest freshman class at Angelo State. It's up about 15% over last year, and our total enrollment, including dual credit, will be a little over 9,000 students. Our dual credit enrollment will stay about the same as it was last year, around 2,000 students utilizing 14 independent school districts around West Texas. Retention rates that was just something that was recently released. It's up to 68.2%. That's the highest retention rate Angelo State has ever had. I think that will bode well as the Chancellor and I take special items to the legislature next spring. We're going to ask for an additional $1 million in the freshman college. Since starting the freshman college, our retention rate is up 13.4%. So I give a lot of the credit to the retention rate that we have at Angelo State, and I can tell you we were in the lower half across the state, but that's not the case anymore. So it's something that we need to strive for. Obviously, when we look to our sister institution at Texas Tech and being in the 80s, we have a ways to go, but we certainly know that we've made a lot of improvement and continue to do so. Another thing that positions ourselves well for performance-based funding is that our 6-year graduation rate is up 6 points and percentage rate, and 4-year graduation rate is up 4 percentage points over last year. The HSI continues to increase. We are now 34.15% Hispanic at Angelo State. So it's a very vibrant segment, and it's very healthy, and it's doing quite well. And this is without dual credit. On the development side, I know the Chancellor pointed out how good the system has done in development. This year at the CASE Awards, Angelo State University was the only Texas institution to get all 3 awards. And Jamie Aiken and her team have done an amazing job at Angelo State. In the Lone Star Conference, we successfully raised more money at Angelo State than the rest of the conference combined. So that was an amazing feat by them, and I'm really proud of what we've done in development. And I give Jamie Aiken and her team a lot of credit. And we also appreciate what Lisa Calvert and the mentorship we have from the system has just been phenomenal. Some new programs on the horizon. I didn't talk about this yesterday, but in building the new Archer College building, we will be constructing and preparing faculty offices and labs for occupational therapy. We've already started the initial phase of that to introduce it, and once we get that recognition, we will be coming back to this body, showing that we have the money in place and the faculty and the program to ask for permission to take that to the coordinating board. And so that'll be something that we'll be bringing probably this fall. We are also going to approach some foundations about startup funds to get us through the first 2 years of adding occupational therapy. Our physical therapy program has done quite well and has had 100% passage rate for many years. We will be using the additional HEAF funds to add some new buildings as well. One of them will be on campus, would be a research entity for biology, greenhouse primarily in combination with some other areas in that for that discipline. And then finally, the Chronicle for Higher Education does a survey every year, and it's input from just employees. And if you pass enough criteria, you get what's called a great place to work, and it's a university. And there's 11 criteria, and if you get 3 of them, you're considered a great place to work, which I think is kind of a low bar, quite frankly. But last year we had 9 out of 11. It was positive. This year we were 10 out of 11. And there's only 4 institutions in America that have 11 out of 11. I think they cheat, but I hope that's not recorded. But anyway, they don't cheat. They do a great job. But we're one of the few institutions that have 10 out of 11, and I think that bodes well for, if you see all the things that we're accomplishing, it's because we do it as a team at ASU, and people enjoy working there, and it's worked out well. That concludes my remarks, Mr. Chair.
Hayden?
Thank you. Good morning. All right. So thank you for having me again. I think we're going to start doing something different. Instead of discussing what we've been doing the last 2 months, we'll start going by themes. And so to start, my experience in higher education was not my foundational leadership experience. I started in healthcare and in the military. And so a lot of, when I moved forward in higher education, I always looked at it through the lens of my experience elsewhere. And when I was in healthcare, we talked a lot about fragmentation and working in silos and how it's not good for patient outcomes. And so Mr. Sawyer from Care Logistics talks about how fragmentation is the root cause of inefficiency in a lot of hospital systems. And when you change the mindset and you deliver care in a coordinated manner, it increases patient outcomes. So naturally, when I go to approach student government work, I think of, well, how do we increase student outcomes? Do we do it through reduction of fragmentation? And so the question I then ask is, if that's the case, what is student government's role in reducing that fragmentation? And how do we become relevant to the student body through that reduction? So we've been focusing on the phrase interface a lot. And I think I discussed the first time how we want to do it student, community within the system and statewide. So the way we're doing it between students is through the Snapchat application. This is a partnership we have with our communications and marketing. We give students these 4x4 cards. They take a picture of it, they scan in, and they follow this social media app. When we polled students, 9 out of 10 students on our campus used it, and statistically over 2/3 of students who do use it will check it at least once a day. So we're building this application because students are using email less. And 2/3 of them don't check their email, but 2/3 of them will check this. So it gives us a very, very dense window into events happening on campus. And our goal was 1,000 students by October, but we already have 600 followers. So I think we'll probably hit 1,000 mid-September. But it's been a very, very useful tool. And it's one of those ways where instead of redoubling our efforts by having communications and marketing and us have our individual media, we're building the tool with them. So we're concerting our efforts to one point. And then, with the community too, we have these great core programs, the student discount program and the RAM-TRAM, and we haven't done much to enhance them and reflect on them in the past couple of years. And so what we're trying to do now is, when we build that physical connection saying, look, here's this card, follow us on this social media, we also want to print out some new business cards that show our programs. So, we have conversation starters, we have 45 senators, each of them can, have 100 of these cards, go to all their classes, hand them out, build connection with the student, become relevant, students see our brand. And for the first time, we might have a freshman class who, the majority of them will probably know student government and know that we are relevant, know that we're providing these services. And so I think that's really important. Too, our community, we have these discounts all on this route. And so we can channel the students to those businesses. And so within the system, I know Catherine and Dr. Lang both touched upon this. We're trying to do some more professional pipeline programs. My goal is to keep more students in the system. And so, of course, we discussed last time how we had Texas Tech Health Science Center presidents come and visit and do a seminar, but we didn't have the pictures. And I really liked this one with Dr. Mitchell on the lower right-hand corner, because what you see is he was flanked by about 20 students all in a circle, listening to what he had to say. And there were probably a good 70 students packed in that hallway, just surrounding these two, which I thought was really interesting. And then we did some polling. Dr. Mitchell brought 120 sort of promotional packages. And we had 5 or 10 left at the end. But we did have 77 surveys. So we had all the different pre-professional health interest represented, and of course 50% of them pre-med. We wanted to continue to do more programming like this within the system. We're looking at potentially the law school if we have time to do something like that this year. But we definitely want to do this again. And so again, that addresses, in a way, fragmentation on a much larger scale. And so my favorite part of this summer was I got to travel throughout Texas visiting different schools. So when we asked the question, how can we be more relevant to students, if it's interfacing, whatever it is, holding them accountable, are other places doing it already? Do we have to reinvent the wheel? We don't. So I had the opportunity to visit, these different schools. We still have a couple more on the way. But I went to UT Dallas, UNT, UTA, UTEP, and of course I got to talk to TTU. So, our goals right here, we met all those goals. We have a standard now, a baseline for our student government, and we're in a much better place than schools of similar size, which I'm really happy for. And we crowdsource resources in a very interesting way. UT Arlington, for example, gave us their entire last year of write-ups and research and reports. And a lot of those don't apply to us because they're a much bigger school, but we're still able to look at their processes and borrow from the processes of these different schools. I included these pictures, the one on the right, where it says President LeBeau's copy. When I went to UTEP, they hosted me for an entire week, and they treated me like a celebrity. And every day they had a packet prepared for me with what I was going to do that day, who I was going to meet, and it was phenomenal. They have such an organized structure, and we're going to try to emulate that as best we can, and continue to meet with them. Do some Skype sessions with their officers, things like that. And so we're trying to build this network where we can mess each other, text each other very, very casually, and ask, how are you handling the situation? If there's something that goes on statewide, how are you guys approaching this? What do we think is best? And we've been doing that. It's been very nice. And they've all been really friendly. I mean, we all have the same goals. Even though UTA has 40,000 students, we still have the same issues within our Senate. So it's been really good. And of course, we got to go to Florida with Texas Tech, which is very, very nice for that conference. And it was something really interesting that happened was Ben and I were in a roundtable discussion. And one of the questions that another school asked was, we can't get in touch with our president, we can't get in touch with our vice presidents. And we were so baffled by that because we have really great relationships with Dr. May, Dr. Flores, Topliff, Angie, all of them. And so I looked around too, all these different UT schools. I was talking about, we get to meet our board, we get to speak in front of our board. And they were like, what, we don't get to do that? And so I think it's such an advantage for us that we have this very personal relationship. And other schools don't have that, so I appreciate that. And we're going to continue to use that. So again, my commitment's revisited from the first talk. We want to continue to make SGA relevant, continue to promote a culture of accountability, promote useful interfacing, continue to reduce fragmentation on our side between student organizations. And I think the next talk we'll have is probably about utilities, because we have a lot of utilities that we don't usually mention that are kind of sponsored by student government. But at this point, I'll take any questions. So, okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. President Skubanek.
Thank you, Chairman Long. Brian was disturbing me.
I was prepping him.
Never listen. Counterpart.
My main comments today will be focused on what I call immediate priorities, our enrollment as we begin to start another academic year, and research as we come to the end of the fiscal year. But I also want to mention that we have begun discussions that involve the revision of our strategic plan with the intent to lay out a map that will take us through 2025. That's a very important date for Texas Tech because that's the 100th anniversary of our first class. 2023 is also very important because that is the 100th birthday of Texas Tech University. An overarching theme in this revised strategic plan will be to focus on enhancing the student-centered culture that we so value here, at the same time that we solidify our Tier 1 status, and those two things are related. The reputation of a university is very much influenced by the characteristics of your students as it is by the research and scholarly productivity of the faculty. So when we come to the board this spring in our strategic planning session, we want to have some very specific metrics that relate to what should be our size, and we want to measure that against selectivity and quality. How do we grow as we balance our infrastructure needs? What should be our research expectations? What specific targets should we have in terms of federal total research expenditures? And those sort of things. So I'll be alluding to some of what we're going to do as I touch on these immediate priorities, but you're going to hear a lot more about that in the coming months. We're going to solicit the input of a broad range of constituencies, including the board. I just want to give you an update on our enrollment. And what I've done here, I'd like to compare our numbers in 2014 to this 2016 because 2014 was when we last went into a legislative session. And if you look at summer 1 plus summer 2 and compare that to our enrollment for this summer 1 and 2, we're up 13.1%. That's very close to what Brian just mentioned at Angelo State. That's important to us because we are going into an accounting year. And in the last biennium, Texas Tech increased their weighted semester credit hour by 4%, but the state increase was 5%. So our share of the general revenue that comes from the formula wasn't as large as we'd like it to be. So we're very intent on having a strong enrollment during this counting year. If you look at the numbers for the fall semester, that 32,919, that's 3.6% more than where we were a year ago. But I think our enrollment's going to be just slightly up. Our freshman class will be maybe down a bit, 150 students. What's sustaining our enrollment, though, is our retention. We're going to be over 84% from last year's freshman class. We hope to hit 85. So our enrollment is being sustained by the retention. We think that's good. We're also involved in a campaign to get students to take more hours. It's called 30 = 4. Take 30 hours a year, graduate in 4 years. And so we're emphasizing that. So we're hoping that the retention plus a higher SCH per student will keep our weighted semester credit hour where we want it. I'm going to give you some characteristics of the class as we know them to this point. Year to date, the SAT is 1128. Last year, our final number was 1125. But I suspect we're going to be a couple points down when we look at how this projects out to the fall. So we'll be fairly flat there. We are up in the top 10%. We're going to be up over where we were a year ago, looking at 20% in the top 10%. That's important because U.S. News and World Report does use top 10% enrollment as one of the metrics that they evaluate us on. A real bright spot is honors. We've enrolled 15 National Merit Scholars for this coming year. Last year we had 7, but if you go back to 2013, well, the last year I can get national ranking data, we had 5. That placed us 79th in the nation among publics. For the most recent data I can find, to be in the top 50, a school had to have around 16. So we're getting there to the top 50 in the nation among publics and national merit, and I think that's commendable. The fall honors class is 480. It's up considerably. Michael San Francisco does a fabulous job. The total enrollment's going to be over 1,400 compared to 1,390 last year. The SAT is 1,314. If you take, there's 38 students that they admit are more holistic measures. But if you take those out, and the average SAT was 1363, which is really high. The board last year strongly encouraged Texas Tech to attain Hispanic Serving Institution status. Based on the most recent estimate I've received, it looks like we're going to be below the 25% threshold. Right now we're at 24.3, but we work on that on a daily basis. So we're still hoping we can attain that. When we talk about that strategic plan, these are some of the elements in that plan that we've already implemented, what we're going to be implementing for the coming year. This coming year, we're going to commit $500,000 from National Research University funding to provide support to students who will be engaged in undergraduate research. We're going to create a portfolio of faculty, both electronically and in print. And when we go out and recruit, we're going to advertise these faculty as being faculty who want to be mentors with students. And we're going to pair these faculty with students. We hope to add 100 students this year and do that for 4 years and eventually build up to a cohort of 400. That cost us about $2 to $2.5 million coming out of NRUF money. But we think that's going to be a great way to offer what we call a signature educational experience. When students come to Texas Tech, they can be paired with a faculty faculty who will be a mentor for life. We've also looked at the yield from our presidential scholarship for this past year. This is determined both by SAT and class rank. We get a much higher yield if we look at that group in the top 25%. So we're going to increase the scholarship support for these presidential scholars. These are kids who are above 1,200, but going down to the top 25% as compared to focusing on the top 10%, because those are still very strong students. Last year, we put $100,000 more in honor scholarships, and we're going to continue to do that because I think you saw how effective that really was. We right now have 3,000 transfers in our student population at the undergraduate level. That's 10% of our undergraduate population, and we want to grow that to about 15%. That means by 2020, I'd like to see 4,500 to 5,000 transfer students. Now, that doesn't mean those are going to be students who are going to come here, but we really have an opportunity in these 2+2 programs in Waco with McClellan Community College, our new 2+2 partner, Colin in McKinney, and also El Paso. It's been architecture, but we're going to expand that. Those are large population bases where you have a lot of students who are place-bound. But when you go visit those sites, those students feel every bit as much a Texas Tech student as those here in Lubbock. So we're going to put more resources on those sites to grow our 2+2 enrollment and increase our enrollment through these community college transfers. Taking a cue from Angelo State, we're also going to try to increase our enrollment through dual credit. Now, TTU On-Ramps is a new program we're launching this fall. It's a collaboration with the University of Texas. They started this through funding from the Lumina Foundation and have given us about $200,000 to be their first collegiate partner. TTU Ramps is slightly different than dual credit. It's called dual enrollment. So we'll be offering this program at Monterey and Coronado, where these students will be enrolled at Texas Tech, taught in a course by a Texas Tech faculty member, and that course will be complemented by the course they take there in high school. It's meant to particularly increase student effectiveness in the STEM areas. For the first time, we'll be offering, well, we're going to continue to offer dual credit through the early college high school program that was established last spring at Estacado. But for the first time, we're going to start offering dual credit through TTU ISD. As you know, we have an independent school district, and we can deliver high school instruction online through TTU ISD. We're going to start small. We're going to be at Monterey and Talkington School, and then we're going to try to grow that. We're just going to offer chemistry there for the fall. But that's something we're going to continue to expand upon. In terms of research expenditures, there's our performance for the last 5 years. You see, we're growing our total research expenditures. The Chancellor mentioned that we have to improve in federal, and that's absolutely the case. We need to be at 40 million. Once you hit 40 million, you're eligible for certain rankings that we need to be in. Right now, we've been hovering around 32 to 33. For the year to date, we're up about 3%. If we could just increase that, and our goal is to say 4 to 4.5%, we'll hit 40 million by 2019, and that's one of our goals. Our total research expenditures are up for the year as well as our restricted, so we should go over 50 million in restricted, and that's something that we were doing a few years ago, and we need to get back to that point. And finally, the funding follows proposals and awards. And so this is something we continue to focus on. Are we doing all we can to seek out funding? Our numbers have gone up, but they're starting to flatten off. But this is something we're going to be paying a lot of attention to in that strategic plan. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Ben?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
How much of that federal research expenditures is in our control?
It's the money we get is totally, it's dictated by the grant, so it's all in our control.
Gotcha.
Now, we do have some funding that's passed through. We get a grant and it goes to another institution that may be a partner. But the money that you see up there is money that comes to this institution, that 33 million. Regent Steinmetz, what we need to do in terms of federal funding is be more collaborative. We mentioned yesterday in the design of ESB2, we need to be identifying thematic themes that involve multidisciplinary efforts, and that's something we're going to try to do.
Gotcha.
Please.
Well, good morning, everyone. Once again, just like Peyton said, I want to thank the board for taking the time to hear student concerns. Like he said, it really sets us apart. I've been meeting with several peers around the state as well, and it really does set the Texas Tech system apart. And you guys taking what we say and actually letting it matter really does make a difference, and I appreciate it. And so with that being said, I also want to thank the board for announcing Dr. Skuvanek as the new president of Texas Tech. You know, whenever the announcement was made, we all gave a little Tiger Woods fist pump up in the SGA office. That's who we were rooting for. And we're very excited to see where Texas Tech goes under your leadership, and excited to work with you as well. So with that being said, I guess I will go ahead and move on to what we've been up to this summer. It's been long and hot, but I feel like we've made some great momentum and some good strides going forward. And so, like Peyton said, we were able to go to Orlando, Florida this last month to the American Student Government Association's new officer training. And there we were able to collaborate and meet with a lot of different student governments from around the nation and take some ideas from them, and hopefully we'll be able to implement them. And so I'll be updating you on that in the upcoming meetings. But while we were there, we also toured the University of Central Florida. Their SGA is very involved and very active, and so it was cool to see that. And we also visited the Pulse nightclub, where many of you may remember back in June, 49 individuals were killed by a lone gunman. And so visiting that memorial and seeing those names and faces was a very moving experience. It just reminded us of the importance of what we do here at Texas Tech, is educating people on how to be world leaders and how to be engaged citizens and to attack those kinds of issues. So left Orlando both inspired and ready to get some good work done. And so what have we been up to work-wise? Well, first of all, over the last month, we've seen the advent of and the legitimization of ride-sharing businesses in Lubbock, such as Uber and Lyft. And so we were actually able to visit the city council and explain to the city council just how important those services are to Texas Tech students and how often they're used. And we were successful. I don't know if it was us or just the city, but whether or not that's the case, ride-sharing businesses are now legitimized in Lubbock. And so we are looking forward to exploring partnerships and adding those partnerships to our portfolio of after-hours transportation services provided to students. And we feel like students really use those. And so, you know, whether it's taking a ride home rather than walking late at night, or cutting down on drunk driving, we feel like it's really going to add another layer of safety to the student experience at Texas Tech. And so speaking of safety, we are also excited to announce the launch of a mobile blue light application called Raider Safe. And so essentially what this app does is that it's a mobile blue light service that gives a student an instant connection to the Texas Tech Police Department. And so if it's late at night, 2 a.m., and they are walking across campus back to their dorm and they see something or hear something, they have just press the button, and they're instantly connected with a member of the Texas Tech Police Department. And so we feel like it's really going to be an asset to our student body as just an extra layer of safety. That was one of our big focuses coming into this year. And so I really feel like these last two things are really going to add to our portfolio of safety things. And shout out to Dr. Munoz for really taking a leadership role and backing us in this app. And so we're excited to see how that goes. And also, it's going to be launched this first week of school, so we're looking forward to seeing the student response. And then athletics has been generous enough to offer us some advertisement at the first football game. So if you're able to make it up for that, be looking out for it. And so finally, just to wrap things up, another of our focuses was diversity and promoting diversity on campus. And so as these issues take ahead at many universities across the nation, in SGA, we want to be at the leadership of these discussions and to be guiding the discussions towards civil discourse and mutual support. And so over the last month, we've issued a letter of support to the Texas Tech Police Department, as well as a statement to the student body calling for unity and mutual support. And I'm excited to see how the student body responds. I really believe that we have the best students in the nation here at Texas Tech. And I firmly believe that, that we're going to respond well, and that by taking a leadership role, SGA can really steward that discussion and make sure that everything that happens here is positive. And with that, we're also planning 3 different events in the fall to promote that sense of diversity and inclusion. And with that being said, that's all that I have, and I would love to answer any questions that you may have.
When is Raider Safe available?
It is currently available, but however, we're launching it the first week of school. So it's, but it's actually, it's a, Rave Guardian is technically the company, the third-party vendor who it's through. So you search Rave Guardian, but then you log in with your T2 information, and it changes to the Raider Safe app. Yes, sir. So awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. President Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to keep my remarks brief. Each of you will have a handout with our report in it. I want to highlight just a few areas. First is our Family Medicine Accelerated Track. On the FMAT program, we actually had our first, which was our beta test, our first group graduate, not from medical school, but from residency this summer. And as had been planned, the idea was to get these students all to stay, or these physicians now, to all stay in a primary care area. 100% of them were in primary care. And of the beta test, the first 9 that went through, 8 of them actually stayed in West Texas. So the program is working exactly as it was designed to do. Another accolade that FMAT received was that it has made it into the United States Urban Dictionary. This is an online dictionary by young folks, and it is self-described as a veritable cornucopia of streetwise lingo and slang. So FMAT has made it into the U.S. Urban Dictionary. We also this summer began our first group of 30 students at the Covenant Health Systems here in Lubbock in order for us to be able to expand our educational offerings to students. So we had 30 students that started July 1. The early feedback that we're getting from the faculty that we have at Covenant and from the students has been extremely positive. You've heard me mention before our student-run free clinic. Well, our student-run free clinic here in Lubbock received the Best Agency of 2016 by the South Plains Association of Social Workers this year. The work they do there is truly phenomenal. We've started through IA, through Kendra Burris's shop, what we call our HSC program, and it's for our own employees, where the employees themselves get involved with donations to the university for purchasing things that different groups may need around the campus. And we have big get-togethers and parties about this throughout the year to celebrate. And the campaign was only started last year, but this year they've raised $50,000 that they use for different equipment that people can put in requests for. And there's a committee that looks over those things, and that has turned out to be one of the best things that we've done. We're working closely with the system. The Chancellor had mentioned this, but we're working closely with the system to work with all of the component universities on finding areas of collaboration, not just with dual degree programs, but also in areas of research and service that we're working with. And we have a team that we're currently placing together that will be working with Dr. Opperman at the system level for this. We're very excited about the possibilities we have with that. On September 13th of this year, we're going to have the ribbon cutting of our public health building in Abilene. We hope that you guys will be able to attend that. If you've not had a chance to see the campus there, the campus is really becoming a campus. And we have the public artwork that's going up out front that is beautiful. I'm not the best judge of public art, but it's beautiful. In our School of Nursing, has, as we put in our report, dominating leadership in the state. Dr. Jeff Watson is the incoming president of the Texas Nursing Association. Dr. Paula Webb is the president of the Texas Organization of Nurse Executives. Dr. Alice Ashcraft is the president of the Texas League of Nursing. And Dr. Michael Evans, who's our dean, is the president of the Texas Organization of Baccalaureate and Graduate Nursing Education. So our School of Nursing is staying very, very engaged at the policy-making level in Washington. We're very happy about that. From a research perspective, one of the things that we've been working to do is to get all of our faculty from all of our schools involved in various areas of clinical research. And we had our second faculty member from the School of Health Professions receive an NIH grant just recently, Dr. Mary Beth Schmidt. The last thing I'll mention is that we're hosting the 4th World Congress of Ultrasound and Medical Education here in Lubbock in September. We expect hundreds of people coming, not only from around the country, but quite literally from around the globe. We're going to introduce them to the things that we do in medical education with the use of ultrasound here at Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center. We're also going to introduce them to the city of Lubbock and to West Texas. And as part of that, on the first page, the quiz of the day, did you know that Lubbock, Texas is responsible for one of modern medicine's greatest inventions? In 1979, Dr. Sir Godfrey Hounsfield was given the Nobel Prize in Medicine for developing the computed tomogram technology, and he'd been working on this throughout the 70s. He worked for a company, he was an electrical engineer that worked for a company, a London-based company called Electric and Music Industry, EMI. EMI had most of their work done on the electronic side, and the music side of what they had done had historically been very low. But Dr. Hounsfield's research was sponsored through EMI in large part because of the success of the music industry side of the business with them, because of the success of one group from the 1960s that was with EMI in London. Anybody want to care to guess what group that was?
Beatles.
The Beatles. And so were it not for the Beatles, there would have been no money for Dr. Hounsfield to conduct his research, and we would not have had CT technology. Had it not been for a young fellow with horn-rimmed glasses in Lubbock, Texas, there would not have been the Beatles. So that might be a stretch to y'all, but it's not to me. And I will be presenting this to all of our attendees to the Fourth World Congress of Ultrasound next month. So there you have it. Did anybody see my big fat Greek wedding? And there you go. That's the end of my report, Mr. Chairman.
President Skubanek, do you want to comment? Do you have any comment for any of that?
Well,
be careful.
Well, when I took this job, I didn't know I had to be a comedian.
Thank you. Diane.
Good morning. I just want to thank the board for having me here, and I promise I can vouch for President Mitchell. As y'all saw our ranking, I have had more fun at medical school, which I promise is a real thing. President Mitchell leads us, and our deans are no longer here, but this has been such a great opportunity for me, so I can really vouch that GTU-HSC is the best school I could possibly be at. So I'll go ahead and get started with my report. So as you know, medical students and health science center students, we don't really get a summer. So I've had my VPs working while also taking classes this summer. So I'm just kind of going to go over what everyone's been up to. Our communications VP, she actually spent her summer working in Houston, completing the general internal medicine summer preceptor program. She's also an amazing bakery chef and actually has her own blog where she shows off all of her different goods that she makes. And so she's actually starting a culinary medicine elective this fall to be offered to all students while also being a medical student and also being my VP of communications. She's also been working on the library committee to help promote student input into changes that are going to be ongoing in the library this year. Amanda Mitchell, she's spent her summer taking classes, working in the field in a mental health clinic and a pediatric clinic, while also being a TA for anatomy, as you can see their friend there in the picture. She's been working hard to welcome new students to campus, while also running all of the elections for all of our incoming students. And also she wanted me to tell you guys that she had some fun this summer. She went kayaking on the Rio Grande and also did some camping in Big Bend. Jane Gilmore, our VP of Finance, she spent her summer working in an ophthalmologist clinic in Dallas. She's been attending meetings regarding IT on campus, so she's been kind of coming back and forth to Lubbock. She's been attending to any budget requests that have come up over the summer, and she's also going through and editing and updating our funding handbook. As for myself, I've been working on the website advisory committee. They're redoing our website at the Health Science Center. We've been laying the framework for all of our fall events. We have 6 different committees that we serve in SGA, so we've been promoting all of our committee chairs for the fall, and I've been welcoming all the new students to campus. But most importantly, I would like to say that this summer, I met the love of my life. His name is Valentino, and he's a two-toed sloth. So, you know, big news. But in all seriousness, we have a lot of plans set up for the fall. First off, with everything that's happened this summer, we really do want to show our appreciation for the Lubbock Police and the Texas Tech Police. Being in the healthcare field, we often work side by side with these men and women. They protect us while we work in the ER, while we work in the field. So we want to show our appreciation by hosting a barbecue and inviting the police and all of their families. And that will also give an opportunity for students and faculty to interact with the police and to better create and open lines of communication to better enhance those relationships. We have our annual orientation on the 7th. All of our students will attend. We'll go over all of our bylaws. They'll be assigned to their committees. And then lastly, we're going to include speakers on campus carry and diversity. We really want to make sure that our SGA senators are the know everything there is about campus carry to make sure that any questions that come up they can answer. Now that we're getting our signage up, we're getting all of the new policies going for what's going to happen if something, an accidental discharge, those types of things, and making sure that our senators are the front runners with all of that information. Lastly, we'll be having our leadership summit this year. It is taking place on October 15th. Don't worry, before the football game, I promise. The leaders from TTUHC and all the other campuses will be invited to come. We'll have lots of speakers. We'll go over how to better be leaders to our students. And then also following the meeting, we'll have a tailgate professionally catered before we beat West Virginia. And so everyone's invited to come tailgate with us and all of the leaders for all the campuses. And then our welcome back events. The first week of September, we like to welcome back students on all the campuses. So actually at SGA, VP will be traveling to every single welcome back event on all the campuses, including Abilene, Dallas, Midland, Odessa, and Amarillo. We'll get to interact with students and find out firsthand, with the upcoming year, what any issues that are coming up on campus. So we'll learn about the issues, learn about their campus. Last year I had the privilege to go to Dallas and actually learn a ton about the pharmacy program there. And it's also a chance for us to welcome back the students and, encourage a great year. And with that, I conclude my report. Are there any questions? All right, thank you.
Tommy, thank you very much. The chancellor's encouraged us to, at least on a regular basis, to kind of go over our goals to see how we're doing. So these were our 6 goals that we presented in February. I'm just going to highlight 2 of them. That is the establishment of a dental school in El Paso, and talk a little bit about our expanded residency programs. Then I'll mention 2 other things. As the chancellor had mentioned, we're well on our way to establishing the dental school at the Texas Tech campus in El Paso. We've already established the timeline. We've updated the feasibility study that was conducted in 2012. We prepared detailed budgets. We've been meeting with stakeholders in the city. We've actually recruited our first employee. He'll actually be in the Paul L. Foster School of Medicine. Rick Black is a practicing orthodontist for 30 years in El Paso. He was not only president of the El Paso Dental Society, he was president of the Texas Dental Society. He's on the board of trustees of the national organization. And he's selling his practice to come help us with a medical center. So this, again, is just a sign of the intense interest and support we have from the community. We're in the process of soliciting community funds, and I hope that the next time we meet, I'm able to give you more details about that. And we've also identified space, so we're well on our way to getting the dental school up and going. And as the chancellor had mentioned, we've also received a notice from the Higher Education Coordinating Board. They've received our request, and I had the privilege of meeting with the commissioner last week who expressed his support and wanted to know what he could do to help with the proposal. So we're very excited about that. And again, I want to thank Regent Francis for all he's doing in front and behind the scenes as well to make that happen. With regard to expanding the residency programs, as you are all aware, this is a big issue in Texas because we've increased the medical school size by about 35% over the last 10 years. But the number of GME slots, graduate training of residents, has not increased substantially. Well, we've been, over the last year, able to secure an additional 27 slots funded by the Higher Education Coordinating Board for about $2 million. And by the way, Ted was able to secure about 61 slots at about $4.5 million for all of his regional campuses as well. We're able to participate with our partner, the Trans Mountain campus, in securing a $250,000 grant, a planning grant, that will help us get the additional 75 to 90 new residents. This will increase our residency slots by about 50% over the next 3 to 4 years. So that's very substantial. A couple of notable things that have happened. In 1972, the federal government established what are called the Area Health Educational Centers. There are 200 across the United States. I'd say the 48 continental states and one in the District of Columbia. And we're a part of the western region, that is the green region. You can see us in far west Texas and El Paso. Ted participates as well. I can tell you that over the last 2 years, the program is designed to be a pipeline for high school students to get them interested in health education. We touched 22,000 high school students over the last 2 years. Ted?
That's probably not the best way to phrase that.
That's right. We've reached out to, thank you very much, Ted. We've reached out to 22,000. It's called the Collegiate Double T Health Professions Honor Society. And I just want to let you know is that they participate at a statewide level and then at a national level as well. 13 of our students attended the Texas Health Occupation Society of America conference, and 10 finished in the top 3. Then they go on to nationals, and all 10 of those went to nationals. And by the way, they finished in the top 10 across the nation, and 5 of those individuals ended up either first, second, or third place across the nation as well. So we're very pleased with what we're doing around the community well. Speaking about the community, you all were kind enough to approve the naming of the Lawrence Tyler Francis Lobby. This is in the nursing school. Not only to approve it, but many of you supported that financially as well. The outpouring of the community was phenomenal, and I want to thank you all for doing that. It was a very memorable event. You can see Rick and Ginger, and that's Tyler Jean. That's their granddaughter. That's Tyler's daughter. Tyler is not only a Texas Tech graduate, but he's a favorite son of El Paso. And you can see the picture to the bottom right. Now, not only did Rick speak what this meant to he and his family and what it would have meant to Tyler as well. The chancellor also spoke about what the Francis family has meant to Texas Tech. Now, if you look at the bottom right, what happens if you place grandpa with the chancellor, the other grandchild was not very happy about that. That's Annie Rose, who wanted grandpa on the podium, but not the chancellor. The chancellor, we thank you for coming to speak. It was a very memorable event. And the last thing, when you talk about public art, this is my view outside my window about 3 weeks ago. This is real. When God supplies the public art, it means something. So Debbie, this is true public art. I can speak for Ted and myself. We have a lot of challenges. We tell you what's going on that's great, but we face daily challenges. And without the support of the teams that we've assembled, we wouldn't be able to meet those challenges. But there's an occasional time when you see something like this where you feel like you really do work at the best place in the world. With that, the videographers have put together kind of a video of kind of what we've done over the last year, since we're wrapping up budget right now. There'll be no speaking at all. This will last for about 1.5 minutes, not very long, but it's just kind of give you an idea of what goes on at the Health Science Center in El Paso. Please, take it, Tommy. Thank you, sir. That concludes our report.
Thank you. Eric?
Good morning. My name is Eric Vest. I'm the current student body representative at Texas Tech El Paso. And I just want to say I'm greatly honored to present at this Board of Regents to represent my school today. It is said that good things happen in threes. Well, for my presentation today, I want to tell you about 3 events we had over the summer, tell you a little bit about our 3 schools, and then tell you about 3 events we're planning to do this coming semester.
Can you do that in 3 minutes?
Well, if I hold I don't breathe, maybe. Oh, there we go. Okay, so to start, I want to give you an overview of the 3 events we had over the summer, which I will later explain in a little more detail. First, TTUHSC El Paso established its first student government association, where representatives were elected by students to work for the student body. Next was Texas Tech Night at the Chihuahuas, where student, faculty, staff came together to enjoy America's great pastime. And lastly is Red Raider Reels, a free 6-week program that invites the community to enjoy a fun family film right in the middle of our campus. I would like to introduce you all to the Student Government Association executive officers and their respective colleges. Starting from the left, you have Chris Gerzina from the College of Medicine, Charisma James from the College of Nursing, Alexandria Riveras from the Graduate School of Biological Science, and the stunning young man on your right is yours truly. So these extraordinary individuals are some of the most ambitious and diligent people I've ever worked with. With that being said, having executive officers from all 3 colleges allows for fair representation of the student body at this exact level. SGA's goal is to set a strong foundation for the future officers to come. For this coming semester, SGA will be hosting 3 events: Corazon de Oro, the Back to School Bash, and the Winter Festival. Upon my next visit, I look forward to showing you what SGA's plans are moving forward after our Senate orientation on September 14th. But probably the most important thing I want to say right now is I would like to give a special recognition to some of the partners that have helped get SGA on its right feet. Cheyenne Mangold and the Student Service Department at TTUHSC Lubbock have been extremely helpful by answering my many emails and inviting me to join them for their Senate orientation this September. Texas Tech El Paso thanks them. All right, now for the phone. Uh-oh, there's a chance there. Okay, so nearly 1,000 students, alumni, faculty, and staff from TTUHSC El Paso got to attend a night out at Southwest University Park to support the Chihuahuas, El Paso's local minor league baseball team. This was a great chance for all 3 colleges to get together to admire America's great pastime. Texas Tech University's Chancellor Robert Duncan got to throw the first pitch. And it's interesting, from what I heard, it actually packed some real heat, so fast the catcher couldn't even get it.
He didn't stand on the mound, though. It doesn't look to me.
Next. This year marks the 2nd summer we have hosted Red Raider Reels. Every Friday for 6 weeks, the university sends out an invitation to the community to come and watch a movie out on our lawn. People from all over El Paso come out to enjoy some good quality family time. It's great to be a part of a university that wants to bring fun and safe family events to the community. However, there is something I haven't been telling you guys. We have a celebrity among us today. Yes. If you look really closely at all the movie posters, you might just catch him. Let me give you a hint. He's from Texas Tech El Paso and has slicked back gray hair. Yes, you got it. Our very own President, Dr. Ling. I haven't gotten around to asking for autographs yet, but I believe today might be that opportunity for everyone. Now, I feel I wouldn't be doing my university justice if I didn't tell you what each college was doing over the summer. It is also a good chance to show you how beautiful and unique each college is on campus. Paul L. Foster School of Medicine had their entering class of 2020 white coat ceremony, where 108 students attended, and of those, 29 are El Paso natives. This shows that TTUHSC El Paso is continuously striving to increase the number of El Paso residents to learn within their hometown and how to treat potential health risks, like diabetes and obesity, which are prominent within the El Paso community. I say, what better way to overcome community challenges than taking them head on with those who have experience with these challenges locally. Additionally, the first-year medical students have just selected their student leadership for their class as well as their SGA senators. Gail Grieve Hunt School of Nursing entering class will be approximately 42 students in size, with 90% of them being Texas residents. The graduate class had 12 students becoming registered nurses and 11 more on the way pending their NCLEX exam. The nursing school has took notice of the unity among the other colleges and will now be establishing their own new nursing student government. Lastly, the school just received a $430,000 grant that will go towards providing long-distance health education to underserved communities. So, The Graduate School of Biomedical Science has been extremely busy and has had many developments that have continued over the summer. In January, the school became a part of the El Paso TTU-HS system and will have its first group of 19 master's students, all from Texas, starting this coming Monday. The school has also recently approved for the Post-Baccalaureate program. The fantastic thing about this program is that it actually allows students to interview at the Paul L. Foster School of Medicine. In research, Dr. Hakane Wu lab in infectious disease received a $420,000 grant to identify how HIV perseveres in humans. Master's students have been quite busy over the summer, where 13 out of the 14 students are participating in summer internships at research centers of excellence. While doing their internship, students got to volunteer for high school summer medical camp programs. On 3 occasions, master's students got to work with 30 local high school students to pique their interest in research. Such experiments include extracting DNA from strawberries, salt crystal trees, and elephant toothpaste. Lastly, the school has a program that offers undergraduate college students the opportunity to do research over the summer, with many of the students working with master's students. All undergraduate interns gave a presentation at the end of the summer explaining their experience and what they learned being a part of the program. Okay, so for our future events, TTU HSC El Paso has 2 big events coming up, Corazon de Oro and Heart for Sparks. Both are aimed at reaching out to the community. Corazon de Oro enables students to volunteer 4 hours in the local community, while Heart for Sparks raises funds in a fun way for a student-run clinic. Let's just say, based on the names, El Paso, Texas has a lot of love for the community. This September marks the 3rd year of hosting the campus-wide volunteering event Corazon de Oro, which I can officially say has become a tradition here in El Paso. It is a 4-hour event where students partake in volunteer opportunities within the El Paso community and is a great way to give back to the city we call home. With these events growing in popularity, we expect to have over 1/3 of our entire student body participating this year. That's over 200 students and more than 800 hours of community service. We have 3 new charities who are going to be participating this year, which are Candlelights, Therapeutic Horsemen, and Animal Services. The image you see above is one of the volunteer sites from last year's volunteer event at the El Paso Food Bank location. This year, we are happy to announce that Tech Talk, our campus-wide media, will be covering the event, so I look forward to sharing lots of pictures with you on the next Board of Regents. The Medical Student-Run Clinic is hosting 2 events, the Heart for Sparks Tournament, Golf Tournament, and the Sprint for Sparks 5K Run Walk. Last year, both events raised over $7,000 for the clinic. This clinic provides primary healthcare services to the rural community of Sparks, Texas. Students manage all clinic operations under the direct supervision of volunteer physicians. The clinic offers a great opportunity for students to practice their medical skills while providing an invaluable service to the community. As you can see, TTU HSC El Paso is making strides towards creating a positive presence within El Paso community. I am very proud to be a part of this university system, which immerses their students not only academically, but encourages them for community involvement. I thank you all for your time, and if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Eric, I just want to commend you on stepping into a position that's essentially brand new and just running in stride with it and doing a great job. And to the rest of the students, too, I wanted to kind of save it all for the end. The work y'all do is amazing, and it gets better and better every year, and it's just kind of a testament to the Texas Tech system and the ideals and values that they create and what everybody wants to give back and how they feel like they're a family. So great work, and just keep it up. You're making us all proud.
Thank you. Anyone else? Comments?
Well done.
Final item of business is announcements. Ben, any other announcements?
Just hope there's not a reconsideration of any items.
We may go into executive and vote on it. Chancellor, any announcements?
None from the system?
Yep. I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Meeting of the Board of Regents, Texas Tech University System stands adjourned.
Incredible.